from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
New at 11, a group of Hoosiers is coming together tomorrow to draw attention to injustice. Good evening to you at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. Members of Indiana's Burmese community have watched over the last several days as the military retook control of their home country, Myanmar, arrested elected leaders, and declared a year-long state of emergency. Tonight, they spoke to WRTV's Cornelius Hawker about why American democracy and having the U.S. as a safe haven is so important.
The military has once again taken control of Myanmar, declaring a year-long state of emergency. But for those who know the history of the country, this isn't surprising.
They are above the law, they are the law, and they can do everything they want to the people.
The military staged this coup because they disagreed with the results of the country's November election, demanding a recount, claiming there was widespread voter fraud without evidence.
It's strikingly similar with what we've just seen in several months in the United States as well.
People like Eliza Vani came to the U.S. to escape the social unrest and mass killings of ethnic minorities that took place because of the military.
There's no opportunity, there's no right to defy or defend ourselves. So we had to leave.
Human rights group estimating around 24,000 people have been killed in recent years, but believe that number is probably higher.
That systematic implementation of ethnic cleansing policy, which basically accepts Buddhism and the Burma majority, has forced millions of people, specifically ethnic minorities, such as Chin, Karen, Kachin, 7 main ethnic minorities, to seek a safe haven.
These pictures taken by Eliza show refugees from Myanmar who fled their country to avoid persecution. News that President Biden is turning away from the last administration's hardline stance on immigration gives people from around the world hope that they can one day make the United States their home.
We're very fortunate to be resettled to that country, such as here in Indianapolis, to our new home.
Eliza says he and many others still have friends and family in Myanmar. His hope? International efforts will be made to help end this coup.
This military takeover is unacceptable, and they must consider to reverse their actions and allow the democratic transition peacefully.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Eliza and others will be protesting in support of those in Myanmar at Monument Circle tomorrow at noon, standing in solidarity with their home country.
Now to the forecast. WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory joining us now, helping you prepare for the day ahead. Cold temperatures out there, Kevin.
It's a calm, quiet night and cold for now. By February, we're in a new month here, but it will be very cold by the end of the forecast. 28, that's our temperature now. 25 in Kokomo. Overnight temperatures in the lower 20s, so we don't have much of a change here for the next several hours. Headlines tomorrow. Again, a little more sunshine and warmer temperatures, as well as a calmer wind. That'll make it more enjoyable. Temperatures work their way into the mid-30s for the afternoon high. The west wind will be about 10 miles per hour. Okay, one of the first things that will happen Thursday, rain returns. May see a little wintry mix at times. We'll go through this. The temperatures will also surge Thursday, but that just sets us up for the changes as we move to Saturday and then Sunday and Monday. All that's still a conversation to have coming up.
More funding is heading to Indianapolis to help people experiencing homelessness. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is awarding around $7 million to the city to support housing resources. Normally, groups must apply for this funding, but HUD chose to renew grants for existing programs to fast-track the process because there is such an immediate need across the country. The funding will go to nearly 20 local programs and organizations to assist specifically with housing. Ellen Witchey, the president of Damien Center, says the money will prevent people from being turned away.
Without this funding, we actually would turn people away and we're able to house them. It doesn't meet the need. There's still people that we can't help, but this allows us to help quite a few people in a really significant way.
Hoosiers outside of Indianapolis will also benefit from the grants. HUD awarded $26 million in funding to 86 programs across the state.
State leaders have said one reason people are experiencing delays in their unemployment benefits is because procedures are in place to prevent potential fraud. And tonight we are hearing from a woman who appears to be a victim of such fraud. Dawn Mulder tells WRTV she received an unemployment insurance card in the mail in November, even though she never applied for unemployment. It was in the form of a Key Bank card. She immediately called the bank and asked them to put a stop on the card. Then she called the state to report the fraud.
She said, well, I can't say much at all. I can direct you to the website and have you apply or report a fraud. And I said, well, I mean, should I be worried? Does someone have all of my information? Like, I'm not seeing anything showing up anywhere else. And she just was like, I can't tell you any information.
Mulder went to the website and reported the fraud. Now, 2 months later, she has not heard back. In addition to being worried about her personal information, Mulder feels for people who are actually entitled to unemployment but are not getting it.
I'd like to know how someone could, when it's so hard for people who legitimately need the money, how are people who haven't even applied getting verified?
We are working to get answers to that question. The Department of Workforce Development Commissioner has said this kind of fraud is one of the many types they are seeing. He says the department is trying to fight it with tools and technology to verify claimants' identity. If you see something suspicious, you are urged to report it.
If you are unemployed or just looking to make a career change, Hiring Hoosiers is our initiative to connect you to job opportunities. First responders are needed right now to help the Indianapolis Fire Department in emergency situations. The people working behind the scenes of 911 calls can be a lifeline in your most desperate moments. This is the Indianapolis Fire Communications Center. 911 calls by law first go to the Marion County Sheriff's Office. They are transferred to telecommunicators with IFD if they are fire or EMS related. Operations Manager Cheryl Stevenson has worked here for 17 years and knows what it takes to fill this important role.
One of the most important qualities that we look for is empathy. Obviously, you're dealing with people at their worst, and they're not always going to be very kind to you when they're calling in. It's important to be able to understand kind of their position, where they're coming from, and show them through your voice, through your tone, you know, that they have reached somebody who cares.
You also need to be a good listener and multitasker in this role. Anyone applying needs a high school diploma or a GED. This is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year operation. So there is a great job security and benefits in this, but you also have to be flexible when it comes to holidays and various shifts. Ivy Tech is helping Hoosiers go from campus to careers in the classroom. The college offers a 2-year education certificate program. Program Chair Andrew Buckle says the pandemic has made their certificate even more valuable. Classes are virtual right now, but students can do service learning in person. So the institution partners future teachers with tutoring programs for hands-on experience, which gives back to neighborhood schools.
We've tried to be as flexible with our student needs while also trying to provide some support to our schools and our local community partnerships.
It's quite fitting, you know, the teacher of the future. Like, we're just always adapting and trying to become better teachers and trying to make learning easier for the students. So it's exciting.
Micah Jones graduated from the program. He says it helped cut the cost of college and gave him transferable skills. Applications are being accepted now for the next set of classes that start in March. To learn more about Ivy Tech's education certificate program, positions with the IFD call center, or other career and college opportunities across central Indiana, just go to hiringhoosiers.com.
We are nearly a year into the pandemic, and Hoosiers are still dealing with the financial fallout. For one Indiana business owner, that included losing his restaurant. But his story did not stop there. Tonight, WRTV's Cameron Riddle is sharing a downtown Indianapolis comeback story.
In February 2020, local businessman Terry Anthony was on top of the world. He had just finished remodeling his successful Subway restaurant in the shadows of the City County building on East Market Street.
We had opened up to this brand new, new format, new setup. Everything was nice, all the new bells and whistles. A month later, we had a little thing come around called COVID-19.
In less than 2 months, the pandemic and stay-at-home orders forced Anthony to permanently shut down his once booming restaurant after mutually agreeing with the building's owner to go their separate ways.
So a business that would have normally seen upwards of 700 different, customers in a day, trickled down to about, I'd say 70, maybe, and that's pretty much stretching it.
Anthony says he could have lost everything just trying to keep the doors open and would have suffered more losses during the May riots that damaged that building.
On that very same block that we would have been open was vandalized, and banks caught on fire, and businesses that were ravaged that are still not open today.
But fast forward 10 months later, and Anthony is back on his feet opening a new upscale American food restaurant on the other end of Market Street and Capitol Ave. Ironically, in a closed restaurant that was also damaged during the riots. The same building we showed you that night after the windows started breaking.
This is the glass. We're outside, but my hand is inside of this building.
Anthony has now gutted that same space in preparation for his new restaurant called The Block Bistro and Grill, which opens this weekend and has a little bit of everything.
Your tacos, your salmon, we have a ribeye, we have what we call blanchos, which is our take on a nacho.
Almost a year into the pandemic, Anthony can't guarantee that his new venture will be successful. But with March Madness just weeks from arriving in Indy, he's hoping his timing is right for a new chapter.
What matters now is that we're Americans, we're Hoosiers, and we've got to figure out a way to do what we've always done, pull our way out of this situation and come out on the other side and figure out how to do it and do it together. And if it starts at the block, I'd love to say that, and we can keep it going from there.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
It's a ton of money. I'm not going to lie. But, if I'm blessed with that, I want to share it.
A Central Indiana student is among the many Reddit users who made GameStop stocks soar. Coming up, find out what he is doing after cashing out and cashing in.
Two gigs. Switch today.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
A local college student is getting in the Robin Hood spirit after making some money investing in an unlikely hot stock.
I sold it for $15,000, and then the amount I had purchased was $3,000, so I came out with about $12,000. And it was like over 2 days. It was crazy.
Aaron Schmidt from Carmel is a second-year medical student at Marian University. He made that money investing in GameStop as the frenzy over the stock started to peak. He says he will spend some of it on debt and bills, but he's not keeping it all for himself.
Someone else in the Wall Street Bets group on Reddit had donated to their local children's hospital. And when I saw that, I was like, that's amazing. There's no better way to spend money. Like, they can use it so much more than I can right now.
So to help local kids and continue to support GameStop, Aaron bought several Nintendo Switches and games. He donated them to patients at Peyton Manning Children's Hospital.
I feel awesome. Just to pay it forward in some way, I don't know. I mean, there are so many things I could do with the money, and I don't know. I'm going to reinvest some of it to try and keep a little bit of an income going so I can still eat and live. But other than that, I just bring some joy to their lives, especially in the middle of a pandemic.
It speaks volumes, too, of Aaron's current status as a medical student. I mean, just those new professionals giving back to the population that they want to work with. I think that just is amazing. It's a very selfless donation, and it was really great to hear, and I'm so glad it's worked out this way.
And Caitlin Knapp with Peyton Manning's Children's Hospital says Aaron's donation will make a huge impact on patients. She says the games will help kids feel comfortable and socially connected because they can play with their friends online while they are in the hospital. It's definitely such a nice thing to see and bring some normalcy to the kids while they're in the hospital, Kevin.
Absolutely, win-win for everyone there. For us, it's about a number of topics, and we'll take those in order here in a second. But if you have to let the dog out one last time tonight, it's dry, it's cold, temperature stuck in the 20s, and we're holding on to the cloud cover that we had. In order, remember, rain Thursday, may have a little wintry mix at the beginning and end, and then the potential for some light snow Saturday night. I call that the wild card in the forecast, meaning if we do get a fresh blanket of light snow, that will play a role in how cold we get for Sunday and Monday. We'll be cold. It's just a matter of how cold will temperatures be. You need clear skies anytime you have snow cover on the ground and a light wind. Those are all factors that will play into exactly how far below zero temperatures drop. You can see that cold air breaking off from the northern latitudes and pushing south of Canada into the Great Lakes and Midwest. That happens Sunday and Monday is when the core of the cold air will be here. Let's talk about our chance for light snow Saturday night into Sunday morning. Unlike last weekend where it was a heavy, wet snow, this would be a fluffy, dry snow because the air much colder. This light snow moves in overnight and then departs through the first half of Sunday. As far as computer models handling how much snow we may have, anywhere from 1 inch to 2.5. That's just with these two different models. We'll get a better handle on that as we move forward. There are your temperatures. Current forecasts, about 4 below in Indy, 8 below in Peru. Again, these will be adjusted because of those factors. Will skies be clear? The wind calm? What kind of fresh snow cover will we have? All of those will play into that. The record for Sunday is 11 below zero. The record on Monday is 14 below. Temperatures tomorrow, balmy. 22, that's where we'll start. 30 by the time we get to noon. There are your afternoon temperatures with a west wind around 10 instead of having that cold north wind gusting over 20. Wind picks up in strength. That's the key to any wintry mix just becoming rain during the day on Thursday. Those wind gusts close to 40 miles per hour. Temperatures, as we mentioned, above the average, but as warm as it feels Thursday, that sets us up for the big fall because Friday, 25 degrees, dry. Saturday night into Sunday, some light snow potential. The door is wide open for much colder air as temperatures fall from 15 during the day Sunday into the single digits, 4 below or so on Monday. We'll start to bounce back, keeping lows above zero Tuesday morning. Mark.
Grim, I'd call it. All right, thanks, Kevin. It may take a while for people on the East Coast to dig out of a major winter storm there. The slow-moving nor'easter dumped up to 2 feet in some areas. ABC's Mary Alice Parks reports from New York tonight.
From Pennsylvania to New York, residents armed with shovels in hand working to dig themselves out after this massive storm brought double-digit snowfalls to much of the region.
And they've been going Sunday all the way into Monday, and then Monday all the way into Tuesday, and now we still got most likely until tomorrow.
Parts of New Jersey buried under nearly 3 feet in the last 2 days. The snow so thick and heavy, driving treacherous for many.
This is a truck killer. This is my truck. I've lost heat, I've lost power, I've lost brakes.
Airports backed up with hundreds of flights canceled. The winter blast leaving this Texas resident in limbo.
Oh man, it's freezing cold here, man. Freezing cold, man. It's too cold. First time actually seeing snow this thick. We don't get that in Houston, man.
Storm surge bringing crashing waves and frigid coastal flooding to some neighborhoods.
All the way across.
The Midwest also getting snow this week. These Michigan dads taking the idea of an ice sculpture to a whole new and very magical level.
Held the line in the middle and then they pivoted around to make the perfect circle.
I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
This has been the heaviest snowfall in New York City in years, and it may be just the beginning. A storm that is bringing rain to the West Coast now is going to move across the country, and another storm right on its tail that could bring more snow to the East Coast this Super Bowl weekend. In New York, Mary Alice Parks, ABC News.
.com.
The future of the Olympics is still up in the air, and not just the summer games that are supposed to happen this year in Tokyo. Scripps reporter Chloe Norquist shows how some Americans are training for winter games with the hopes of competing in the year 2022.
This is Tess Johnson's life. I started skiing on the World Cup Tour when I was 15 years old and made the Olympics when I was 17, and now I'm here training for the 2022 games in Beijing. We dedicate our lives to this sport. We eat, sleep, breathe mogul skiing. These athletes are the U.S. freestyle ski team's Olympic mogul skiers on what they call an on-snow training day.
Our goal is to continue training until we just can't train anymore on the snow here in North America.
The pandemic has changed how they are able to train.
We're used to skiing basically 12 months a year, and from March 2020 until December, for 8 months, we didn't have any access to a full-length mogul course for our training.
Head coach Matt Ganoza says restrictions due to the pandemic have changed the amount of training the team can get.
We had a schedule going into the year of 12 World Cup events. At this point in time, as we approach February, we've had 3 of the 12. We've seen a large number of events canceled.
Now the team operates in a bubble, traveling where they can, when they can, to get as much practice as possible without interacting with others outside their bubble. Similar to how the NBA operated its basketball season in 2020.
When we bubble into a training camp or bubble into a competition, we bubble in as a team, and we become really dependent upon one another as a team in those bubbles.
We can't go to gyms. We can't go anywhere in public, and that strength training is a huge piece of our careers. Instead of gyms, it's garages, outdoor steps, and using things around you to get in training. We bring bands, TRXs. One of my teammates and I are using towels to pull up and, try and get some resistance. Training this year has been different for these young athletes. This past year especially, it was difficult to find the motivation and, keep going when so many things were getting canceled. And it's just part of it, though. It's part of any passion. Tess started competing at 9 years old. Participating in the Olympics has been her dream since she was a young teenager. For now, these winter athletes are training day in and day out, looking at the future of the Summer Olympics this year to indicate whether or not their competitions will take place. As long as it happens and we get that opportunity to ski in another Olympics, I think, I'll be a happy girl. I'm Chloe Nordquist reporting.
Welcome back. Some companies are encouraging employees to bond during their lunch breaks while they are working from home. Businesses in the UK say they want co-workers to bond while working remotely to make them comfortable with each other when they return to the office. Some businesses are even picking up the tab. One company orders boxed lunches, delivers them to workers' homes, and encourages them to eat while in video conference. Kevin, I wouldn't mind doing that, but you and I keep in touch a lot with our dog pictures all day long.
Yeah, but say 10 o'clock is my time to have my late night snack before the late news. So you guys are welcome to zoom in and watch me eat cookies if you want. Temperatures next 2 days, mid-20s. I should say Friday and Saturday, mid-20s. Then 15 on Sunday. Mark?
All right, I'll be watching you tomorrow at 10 p.m. Have a good night, everybody.